guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's case I will be covering another true crime story for you guys. Now this is a very creepy one, so just bear with me. This one is a very popular case. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of it. Netflix have done a series on it, and there's been documentaries. There's even a film based on this case. It is unsolved and it's just very creepy, but be sure to listen carefully and leave your theories in the comment section down below. But without further ado, let's just get straight into today's case. On the 19th of February 2013, a body was recovered in a water tank atop the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. It was later identified as that of Elisa Lam, also known by her Cantonese name, Lam Ho Yi. She was a Canadian student at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. She had been staying at the hotel when she was reported missing at the beginning of the month. A maintenance worker discovered the body when investigating guest complaints of problems with the water supply and pressure. Her disappearance had been widely reported. Interest had increased 5 days prior to the discovery of her body, when the Los Angeles Police Department released a video of the last time she was known to have been seen on the day of her disappearance by an elevated security camera in the hotel. In the footage, Lam is seen exiting and re-entering the elevator, talking and gesturing in the hallway outside, and sometimes seeming to hide within the elevator. The video went viral, with many viewers reporting that they found it unsettling. Explanations ranged from claims of paranormal involvement to bipolar disorder, for which Lam took medication. It has also been argued that the video was altered prior to release. The circumstances of Lam's death once she was found also raised questions, especially in light of the hotel's history in relation to other notable deaths and murders. Her body was naked, with most of her clothes and personal effects floating in water near her. It took the Los Angeles County Coroner's Officer 4 months after repeated delays to release the autopsy report, which reports no evidence of physical trauma and states that the manner of death was accidental. Guests at the Cecil, now rebranded as Stay on Main, sued the hotel over the incident, and Lam's parents filed a separate suit later that year. The latter was dismissed in 2015. Some of the early internet interests noted what were considered to be unusual similarities between Lam's death and the 2002 horror film Dark Water. The case has since been referenced in international popular culture. It was the subject of Crime Scene, the vanishing at the Cecil immigrants from Hong Kong, was a student at the University of British Columbia, although she was not registered at the beginning of 2013. For her trip to California, Lam travelled alone on Amtrak and intercity buses. She visited the San Diego Zoo and posted photos taken there on social media. On 26th of January, she arrived in Los Angeles. After 2 days, she checked into the Cecil Hotel near downtown's Skid Row. Lam was initially assigned a shared room on the hotel's 5th floor. However, her roommates complained about what the hotel's lawyer would later describe as certain odd behaviour, and Lam was moved to a room of her own after 2 days. Built as a business hotel in the 1920s, the Cecil faced significant financial difficulties during the Great Depression of the 1930s and never recaptured its original market as the neighbourhood around it eventually decayed in the later decades. Several of Los Angeles' more notable murders have happened at or have connections to the hotel. In 1964, Goldie Osgood, the pigeon lady of Pershing Square, was raped and murdered in her room at the Cecil, a crime that has never been solved. Serial killers Chuck Ontorega and Richard Ramirez both resided at the Cecil while active. There have also been suicides, one of which also killed a pedestrian outside the front entrance of the hotel. After recent renovations, it has tried to market itself as a boutique hotel, but that reputation lingers. The Cecil will reveal to you whatever it is you're a fugitive from, says Steve Erickson, a journalist who spent a night in the hotel after Lam's death. Lam had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. She had been prescribed 4 medications to treat her disorders. According to her family, who supposedly kept her history of mental illness a secret, Lam had no history of suicidal intentions or attempts, although one report claims she had previously gone missing for a brief period. In mid-2010, Lam began a blog named Etherfields on Blogspot. Over the next 2 years, she posted pictures of models in fashionable clothing and accounts of her life, particularly her struggle with mental illness. In a January 2012 blog post, Lam lamented that a relapse at the start of the current school term had forced her to stop several classes, leaving her feeling so utterly directionless and lost. She titled her post, "You're always haunted by the idea you're wasting your life," after a quotation from novelist Chuck Palahniuk. I hope I pronounced that right. This could have been done to protect the identity of someone who otherwise would be in the video, either related or not to the disappearance. During the search for Lam, guests at the hotel began complaining about low water pressure. Some later claimed their water was coloured black and had an unusual taste. On the morning of February 19th, Santiago Lopez, a hotel maintenance worker, found Lam's body in one of 4 1,000-gallon tanks located on the roof, providing water to guests' rooms, a kitchen and a coffee shop. Through the open hatch he saw Lam lying face up in the water. The tank was drained and cut open since his maintenance hatch was too small to accommodate equipment needed to remove Lam's body. On February 21st, the Los Angeles Coroner's Office issued a finding of accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder as a significant factor. The 4 coroner's reports released in June stated that Lam's body had been found naked. Clothing similar to what she was wearing in the elevator video was floating in the water, coated with a sand-like particulate. Her watch and room key were also found with her. Lam's body was moderately decomposed and bloated. It was mostly greenish with some marbling evident on the abdomen and skin separation evident. There was no evidence of physical trauma, sexual assault or suicide. Toxicology tests showed traces consistent with prescription medication found among her belongings, plus non-prescription drugs such as Xinitab and ibuprofen. A very small quantity of alcohol was present, but no other recreational drugs. Investigators and experts have however noted that the concentration of her prescription drugs in her system indicated that she was under-medicating or had stopped taking her medications recently. The investigation had determined how Lam died, but did not initially offer an explanation instead